So, look, we're going to go to Mug Club in a little, but this is just something I'm going to speak frankly with you. We're going to get to the white dudes for Kamala. I don't know how much longer we can continue on this path with our country. And by the way, I understand it's not lost on me. I'm not a doomsday person as far as your general quality of life, right? The fact that you have air conditioning, access to medical care, life expectancy, the choices that you have available, you're certainly better off than people who lived in the 1940s, 50s, or even 60s. That's not lost on me. What I'm talking about is, I don't know how long we can continue on this path as a country where it used to be the right and the left, different ways to kind of get to an end result. It's becoming increasingly clear to me when you see what they're trying to do with the Supreme Court, when you see the dictatorships and the socialist regimes that are undergirded, propped up by exclusively, really, the left in this country. We don't share the same vision for the United States of America. The contrasts are so clear. I was just thinking about this the other day. We're doing a current piece where we're going to spot American flags at people's houses and on their cars and asking them their political affiliation. Take a guess. Take a guess. The numbers are always conservative. And this is something that you see. If you look at these polls right now, and I think this is what's defining the difference between the left and the right. People say, well, you have to go left or right, because the polls show there's a divide, and it's largely by left and right. People on the right are the ones who answer that they're not, and I think, and you can comment below if this is you, that we're not thrilled with the direction of the country. We think that the country's headed the wrong direction. Okay. The same people who say the country is headed the wrong direction, conservatives, are the same people who still wave that flag. The people on the left who answer, we think the direction of the country, it's headed the right way, are the people who hide it. Because when they say that we are headed the right direction in this country, they mean away from America. The reason that conservatives think we're headed the wrong direction is because they still love this country and they want this country to continue being what it has been, the greatest, most free country in the history of the world. So they say, I don't like where the country's headed right now, but by God, I'm proud of that flag, and they wave it. The left says, I'm happy where we're headed right now, and I'm going to hide that flag because, God willing, hopefully at some point, we will no longer be the United States of America. That's the fundamental difference. Look at the difference between Maduro and this administration. And yes, I lump them together, and us, and you, and President Trump, and conservatives, on big tech. Big tech is absolutely, right now, still the biggest threat to a free people, to a constitutional republic. I believe that. Okay. Maduro and the administration, the Biden-Harris administration, also say big tech is a huge threat. They say democracy is a huge threat, but for two very different reasons. I have a problem with big tech and think they are a threat to a constitutional republic. Conservatives think that because of the hiding and throttling of information. I think that it's a threat to a free people, for example, to punt a story and label it as Russian disinformation, like the Hunter Biden laptop story. Or, for example, to say that the picture of Donald Trump getting up from an assassination attempt is misleading. Or, for example, removing people who question at the time that a virus may have come from a lab in China, which turns out it probably did. I think that big tech is a threat to a free people when there is a lack of information, when they silence people. This administration and people like Maduro out there hate Elon Musk. They hate and sue and threaten Rumble because they want less information. We both hate what big tech is doing, but for very, very different reasons. And I will say this, if nothing else, at least there's consistency on that. The left constantly wants to interfere and determine which information is allowed in the public square. And if big tech comes, Elon Musk was not public enemy number one until he had the gall to come out and say, hey, I support freedom of speech. Now he's an enemy. My position has not changed. Big tech is the enemy because of the silencing of voices of political opposition. This is why I don't know that if this is tenable. We are on two very different paths as a country. On one path, you have people who fly their flag, who love this country, who've always loved this country, but don't like the direction of it right now. And their solution is to, at least in their mind, whether you agree or not, get back to the most fundamental principles that made us that shining city on a hill. First Amendment, Second Amendment, rule of law, of course freedom of speech, of course allowing people to express their opinions, of course, allowing us to keep more of our own money and make our own decisions. That is one path. Wave the flag and get us back to what made that flag so meaningful. The other path is we want nothing to do with that flag. We want the United States to be like USSR. Oh, it didn't work. Sorry. Cuba. Oh, okay, it didn't work. Venezuela. Okay, it didn't work. We want the United States, one path wants the United States to be anything other than what has made the United States unique. Think of it this way. When you hear people from Canada who are on this show often, or people from Europe, and we've had them here, people from Brazil, they come in and what do they always say, these people? They say, hey, look, if America decides that they're going to go down the path of no longer allowing freedom of speech, if America doesn't actually have the First Amendment, it's done for the world. It's done for the world because it's the last place that exists. That's what these people who are coming to America because they love America and they see it as a beacon of freedom, that's their concern. The other path is we've got to remove that beacon and be just like them and the places that they're leaving. I don't know how much longer we can continue going down this path, because this election is making it so clear. And I'm not just talking about people or hero worship, I'm talking about the platform of ideas. You have a platform that lied to the American people. And I don't mean bullshitted, I don't mean exaggerated about numbers, I don't mean saying the jobs report was slightly better. I mean lied to the American people and told you that you had a man who was fit as a fiddle in office with his finger on the button and had the nuclear codes, and you had nothing to be worried about until it became so undeniable that they swapped him out without a democratic process to save democracy. And on the other side, you do have a guy who, despite all of his flaws, even if you don't like him, has had an uphill battle and absolutely had to go through a process that threw up every single smokescreen and roadblock they could, including his political opposition, in trying to fabricate new laws. That's where we are. We have a group of people who fly the flag, and I mean it, are patriots because they want America to return to the country that it's always been, and one side that wants to do away with what they view America as a place that was, but needs to sunset now. And I don't know how long those two can coexist, because it's not actually a relationship that can coexist. Something has to change, and maybe there needs to be some kind of a summit where people say, no. Yeah, we all agree, the United States is the greatest country in the world, and let's talk about how to improve it. But that's not what we're hearing from one side. No. You guys can comment below. We're going to go to Mud Club. If you're watching on Rumble, click that button. White dudes for Kamala. It's the funniest shit I've seen in a long time. If you're watching on YouTube, piss off.